Hey, welcome to Impact CEO, where we share real stories from real CEOs who are building companies that are making an eternal impact. I'm Jay Lee, and I'm so excited to have you with us today. Today, of course, with me is Duane Donner, founder and CEO of Founders Advisors and Abide and Lead. Duane, welcome. How are you today?
I'm great, man. What a day.
I mean, an amazing day here at Highlands College. Why don't you tell everybody what we've been doing today?
Whew, man, it's been awesome. Well, today was the Highlands College Leadership Conference, formerly the Impact Leadership Conference. And we had John Maxwell here. We had Ryan Leak. Man, wasn't he fantastic?
Phenomenal.
Of course, we had Pastor Chris. He's always amazing. And yeah, it was awesome. We got to launch this podcast today.
That's right. We went, and it's getting great reviews already. And so
it is?
Very thankful for it. Yeah,
Awesome,
our numbers are up. So really
Good.
thankful
We need
for that.
our numbers up. So very exciting day. And of course, we get to be here with my good friend, David Pursell. Goes by DP. He calls me DD. I call him DP. And David, I love you, brother. It's such an honor to be here with you. We go way back.
Way back.
I remember back over 20 years ago, I actually took my daughter to Pursell Farms for a JH Outback. And I had a life-changing experience out at your farm. And I was so excited about it that I came back. I remember I called Earl Furley. Earl was here today. I love Earl. But he was working for you at the time. Of course, he led that JH Outback. And I called Earl and I said, hey, this was life-changing. I want to be part of this. Can I volunteer? He said, absolutely.
Oh, it put you to work.
Yeah, you put me to work, all right. And man, we had a good run there at the farm. And it became, the Pursell Farms has become just such a special part of my life and my family's life. We've celebrated some of the most special times in my life at Pursell Farms, including my dad's 75th birthday, or actually 80th birthday.
I was there.
Yeah, 80th birthday. We've celebrated Founders' 10th and 20th anniversary there. And yeah, special place. So it's so great to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's also, for those watching on YouTube, your farm is in the backdrop of our podcast studio because it's so tied into what we do at Abide and Lead and the story of Heritage Forums and everything we've ever done. So thank you for being here. You are a visionary and such a creative leader, and so we're really thrilled to have you on the podcast and excited to jump into our conversation today.
And he's a great golfer. I have the privilege to play golf with David from time to time, and it's awesome because we get to play on his golf course.
Yeah, the first time I ever met David was actually on his golf course, and I shanked 2 balls in the water on the first tee box, and I was thrilled about that. It was really a great story for me.
But you had potential.
Hey, praise God.
David always beats me, but I have to say one of my greatest golf moments of all time, because golf's like 5 or 6 on my list of things I love to do, and it was David. Tell him the story, man.
Well, so we were playing the 18th hole, which is my favorite hole.
It is.
And I had never eagled as a par 5, never eagled number 18. And so I'm playing with Duane, and Duane was kind of a new golfer back then. He was just kind of, this crazy Cajun and swing hard. Anyway, he was lining up for his 3rd shot into the par 5. And if he holds it, he makes an eagle. Well, guess what he did? He made an eagle on that hole before I did. And I still have not made an eagle on it.
And it was from like 140 yards. It went in the hole. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what to do. He was like, you just had an eagle.
It was more luck than talent, but it happened for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's DP and God is our witness. So DP, it's great to have you here. Part of what I love about you and Pursell Farms, Farm Links, is what I've experienced. And it's one of those places you go and you have an experience. And I've been out there probably 100 times or more. But I'll never forget one of the first experiences I had was when y'all first built the golf course, which I guess was like in
2003. We opened it.
I went out there for a tournament, and you were under that flagpole in front of the pro shop. And it was a charity event. And probably for JH Ranch. And you started praying, and the first thing you said is like, you were just honoring the Lord and said, we want to use this place, God. Thank you for giving us the gift of Pursell Farms. We want to use this place to glorify you and to bless people. And man, you were weeping. I started weeping. I was like, wow. I was very early in my walk of faith, and that was something that never left me. I always remembered that. So where'd that come from? Tell us the story about that and how that was built into y'all's.
Yeah. I became a believer at Auburn University back in 1978. So my faith walk had already started, and we had just seen so many cool things happen at Pursell Farms. I mean, it's like this land is different. It's not just a piece of farmland. It is really something special. So there's just been, so much that had happened. We had at that time in 2003, we had a good bit of success in the fertilizer business that we were into, and it was just kind of seeing this. Now we got this golf course, this actually a ranked golf course,
which
in
was
Alabama.
your vision, right?
It was a vision to sell fertilizer to golf course superintendents, and I don't know, you get up there and you got all these people now that are coming to your golf course, and I'm like, dang, this is something. So, if I get up and I speak, and you're like this too, Duane. Get up and speak, and you realize the God quotient. In other words, this is not I can't pound my chest about this thing, but I was just probably just overcome.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that
emotion.
I think is the fact that your father, who at the time had the vision for a lot of this, bought the farm, really was building this multi-generational fertilizer company. I think he had implanted into your family this idea that, like, God's blessed us and I want to use this to be a blessing.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes.
That heritage.
So, I was able to work with my father since I got out of Auburn in 1980, and it was just so fun to sit up under his wing and his tutelage. But he had given his life to Jesus just 2 years before I did, and so we were somewhat together in our faith walk. But the real pivotal thing about not only our company and the farm was when he decided, after he had become he was a new believer. I mean, he had just repented and he didn't know much.
His life changed.
The Old Testament and New Testament kind of blended together a little bit, but he knew that he wanted to give his most beloved possession at that time was the family business to Jesus.
Wow.
And he didn't really even know what that meant. He just, that was just in his heart. And so when he did that, everything started going well for the fertilizer business, just really started taking off. And then he had bought a piece of property. He turned it into over 3,000 acres and just consolidated all this. So he didn't have a whole lot of vision for what we were involved in during that time, but his vision was handed off when he died 5 years ago at age 89. Everything that he had accomplished and compiled as far as the land is now being turned into something. You see God's hand all over this, right. And I'm the really creative one, but it's just amazing how God's worked through generations of our family.
So it's a multi-generational business. He had a lot of business savvy. He built it, but you really kind of took it to the next level with your creativity. And I've kind of watched this happen. I mean, really, when you go out to Pursell Farms, and you've even shared this with me when we're sitting on different vistas, like, this is a work of art for you. Mm-hmm. And you've kind of, over many years, again, with your family, kind of put your touches to build this amazing experience. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been for you and how you've done that and how God's been part of that process?
Yeah, so I was a commercial art major at Auburn, which had nothing to do with agronomics and a fertilizer business. But yeah, since I had lived on the land, and we decided to move our headquarters out to Pursell Farms, and what we were trying to do is to get golf course superintendents from all around the country to be introduced to this. So I came up with this wild idea. I said, Dad, let's move our headquarters from downtown Sylacauga to Fayetteville, Alabama, out in the middle of nowhere. And we're going to build this. 18-hole research and demonstration golf course, and we're going to build this guest lodge. We're going to bring all these superintendents in, and he's kind of like, what are you even talking about?
How much does that cost?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have the money to do that, but anyway, we figured out how to do it, and so we turned a business strategy, a visitation business strategy, bringing golf course superintendents from all around North America.
Yeah, I remember that. Earl Froley was leading that project for you. I remember.
Yeah, so 10,000 golf course superintendents came in to the farm over those years, and 90% of them, they would come in for it was like they didn't know us when they came in. I mean, it was a free trip, but it just worked. I'm a big believer in don't do things the way everybody else do them, because you'll never
get out of
be
the
able
people
to,
pile.
Yeah.
Maxwell talked about it.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to kind of jump your competition and do things uniquely.
Yeah, you were competing against multinational billion-dollar companies.
Yeah.
So you really figured out a strategy to win, and they could not touch you because a 90% conversion rate, that's unheard of.
I know.
And I think that led to today what is, I understand to be, you've mentioned it multiple times, kind of the strategy for Pursell Farms is, what's the word?
Weaponizing Southern hospitality.
That's right. So tell us about this, because I'm a recipient of that.
Yeah.
It's why I love going there. It's what I feel. It's a feeling. In fact, Ryan Leake talked about this today, building an environment where you feel a certain thing. So tell us about weaponizing hospitality, which, by the way, we talked about earlier. Hospitality is a biblical gift. I believe part of my Cajun heritage is the gift of hospitality. Both my wife and I have that gift, and we love it. It's part of Founders culture. But y'all are doing it at a whole different level. So
it started back during my father's tenure. I can remember I was 20 years old, and we used to go do trade shows, and we had a hospitality room. Well, then so now we turn that into a business strategy, and it just worked. I mean, it's like one of those things, you throw spaghetti against the wall, and but it's really just about bringing people in. These were people that we didn't know that came in for a 3-day, 2-night, what we call the experience at Farm Links, where they learned about us, they learned about the fertilizer technology, they met other people, they ate a lot of really good meals, they fished, they could play. And it was Southern hospitality. I say we weaponized it. We just did it really, really well. Right. And so we took that, and we only operated that business, that segment of a 102-year-old business. We operated. I was CEO for 9 years, and we ended up selling it in 2006. So now all of a sudden we're like, okay. We didn't sell any of the assets at the farm, and we're kind of like trying to figure out, all right, we got to steward this money well. What are we going to do? So it took us a little while to do that, and we doubled down on just doing hospitality, and that's really, we're just our family. I don't even think our family, my family actually knew how good we were at that, but it's just inviting people into the home, treating them well, try to do things in such a way where you kind of delight them in certain ways, because so many places you go, you're not really delighted, you just kind of get what you expect.
Right.
So if you can find a way to delight your customer, they will be endeared to you. And I would say,
call that creating raving fans.
Yeah. And I think this is what Founders does as well. I mean, it's unbelievable. But then you add the Christian component on top of that. It becomes something really, really special. Yeah. And it becomes a ministry almost.
It is a ministry.
Yeah.
Tell us, when you drive into Pursell Farms, you have a verse. When you drive in, what is that verse?
That verse comes from Psalm 111, 2 and 12. It says, great are the works of the Lord. He has made his wonders to be remembered.
Amen.
And what that we actually put that verse, we etched it out of marble. Okay. So, I mean, it's not like something you change. It's the same verse that's been up there for 25 years. But when we first, this is back during the superintendents coming in as well. We just wanted, when people come in, we didn't want them oohing and ahhing over what man has created. We wanted them to see God's handiwork. And that's what's so cool when you go out to Pursell Farms, you're driving around and you're kind of like, oh my goodness, look what God's done.
Yeah, it is.
There's a golf course out there, but man, there's mountains and there's streams and lakes.
Beautiful.
Of course, I love the secret place. We get to spend a lot of time up at the secret place when we go to the Heritage Forum.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of places. We use the farm a lot to host these ministry events. So what is your vision? Two questions. One, how are you today, as you're leading this with your family, how are you and your family integrating faith into your culture there? And then what's your vision for this going forward? I know you have a big vision. You're a visionary.
Yeah. Well, as far as faith goes, culture is built over years and actually decades, and it can go back a long way. So I think the culture started with my parents, because my dad always says, "Hey, I want to run my business with Christian principles, and I want to use the farm to kind of elevate God and to expand His kingdom."
Amen.
He just didn't have the creative way to kind of execute that in a lot of different areas. But we started out with a chaplain that would come into Pursell Farms. It was actually the guy that led our entire family to Jesus, a guy named John Riley, and it had a huge impact on us. So that has just permeated, down through employees, and we do a lot of events. We love to be generous and things like that. We
are generous.
We have fun, but the cool thing, I think, the biggest ministry to our guest is like the Heritage Forum coming out there. I mean, when
that's part of your vision, right? Because I know that you have a vision. You host a lot of ministries. In fact, Vapor Ministry is one of my favorites. Yeah. Of course, Micah and Audrey were here today. Right. I love them. They're amazing. Mm-hmm. You helped them get started, but you've actually built a facility out there for them on your property.
Yeah. So, it's another God thing. There's all these God things happen. Right. But yeah, I met Micah in 2007, right after we'd sold the business. And I'm sitting there with more money than I'd ever dreamed of having. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what next? I'm like 46 years old at the time. And I met Micah and Audrey. They were living out of their car and had this vision called Vapor Sports Ministries at the time. And just fell in love with them. Yeah, and God just prompted us to say, hey, we got a house. Why don't you, set up shop and whatever. And now they're like,
it's amazing,
ministering to millions of people.
It's amazing what God's done there.
Yeah.
But can you just share two things? Well, the first is the vision you have. I know we have a vision trip. I'm going out there. I just talked to, I think Mike Stocker just got back from one of those. What are you visioning for the future of Pursell Farms?
Yeah, so right now, since 2017, we've, we're in full-time hospitality, open to the public. But God gave me a vision in 2019, right before COVID hit, to look at pivoting from a public to a private club, and to create a membership of Christian families, believers, solid believers, not just Christian, but believers, that are active in, using their influence and their business and, their generosity to go and really change the world. And
sounds like an abide and lead profile.
Well, I mean, it is. It's the fruits of, that's what I'm looking for in members, are people that are abiding in Jesus, and realize that our life is short, and God gives us gifts, and we're not to kind of leave them in our pocket. It's kind of like, how do we band together? This is a collaborative effort. So so that the members are going to be it's going to be a place where ministry happens. But this building that that we're in the midst of designing right now is going to go up at the highest point on the farm. It's not the secret place. It's on Sulphur Mountain.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the birthplace of world-changing ideas. We call it the hatchery.
That's awesome.
Hatching vision. So this, and I'm using the architect who kind of did all this here to help us.
Oh, yeah,
with
he's
it.
awesome.
He's great.
So tell me this. I know we go through time. I've been around you for a long time. You've been around me. We both have been through tough times. You've walked with me through tough times. I've walked with you. I know you went through a tough time during COVID. Your business is a hospitality business.
Yeah.
Every hospitality business basically shut down.
All right.
Can you give us the quick version of what happened during that time and how that really, I think, led you to a deeper abiding walk with God and how he's worked in your life? Because that's really how God. I've found that God does His best work when we're going through our toughest days.
Yeah, the valleys.
Yes.
For sure. And that's kind of what happened with us. So we go from, a lot of success in 2006. Okay. So, we're doing really well, but we finally doubled down. We decided we were going to, make some investments in hospitality and just go full time into it because, when we started, we had a golf course, but we didn't have any rooms, didn't have restaurants and stuff like that. So we invested in all of that. And several things happened. Number one, we ended up overspending because of some things that we found out, after we had gotten it. So we had a budget, but the budget expanded and there was no way around it. And so that was tough. And then we had some consultants come in and they said, oh yeah, the day you open your doors, you're going to be 65% occupied. And it turned out to be 45%.
Right.
Okay. So now all of a sudden the performance were not looking good.
Right.
And, so we were kind of struggling to do well, but we were growing every year. And this was my idea. Now my dad's in his 80s, and so I'm the one that's kind of leading this. And then we get to 2019. That's when I got the vision for this newest thing that we're doing. But in 2020, we had a full book of business on the books. We had 40 weddings.
Yeah.
It was looking good. This is going to be our breakout year.
Right.
And of course, COVID hit. And then we had nothing. Everybody canceled,
Right.
and there was no contractual anything you would get, And so now I'm sitting here. I have always had an answer. I could conjure up an idea to come up with an answer to get through this. And I was trying all kinds of stuff, but I was at the bottom of myself. So anyway, I'm like digging into my time with the Word in Jesus like I'd never done before. And this is when I learned to abide in Jesus.
Yes.
I was waking up at,
It's called desperation.
I knew, Lord, this is out of my hands.
Right.
I need you to do this. And so I would be spending like 4 or 5 hours each morning.
Wow.
Sleepless nights, but I'm just like going before the Lord, praying, journaling. It's like I knew God was real and I knew He was capable of pulling us out of this, but I just didn't know how it was going to happen.
Right.
So a real cool thing happened on March 28, 2020. So there's nobody at the farm. We didn't have any guests. We didn't have any employees. We didn't have, it was a beautiful bluebird day, no golfers. And it was kind of like the rapture had happened and I got left. So anyway, I drove my truck over to the golf club parking lot, and I grabbed my putter and a couple of golf balls, and I was praying and said, Lord, you're going to have to send me a sign that everything's going to be okay. And so that was my kind of prayer. I was just kind of going down to clear my mind and just like, but there's no clouds in the sky, beautiful day for golf or whatever. And as I'm walking down from the parking lot towards this putting green, about 150 yards away, as I'm walking down, I look up in the sky and I see this red balloon flying across. And I'm like, I was like, I wonder where that came from, and I wonder where it's going. And I didn't really read anything into it. So as I'm approaching the putting green, this mylar balloon, helium balloon flying way up there just starts falling. And as I stepped up on the putting green, which is, 3,000 square feet, like a small house circumference, this red heart-shaped mylar balloon fell at my feet.
Wow.
What are the chances of the situation, the timing, everything, the red balloon? I tell people, I said, if it had been a SpongeBob SquarePants balloon, I wouldn't have read anything into it. But it was a heart-shaped balloon, didn't have any writing on it. And to me, it said, don't worry, I got this.
Amen.
See you.
How has that impacted you, David, in your walk of faith and business? Because I know after that, multiple things started to happen that, again, we don't really have time to go into, but basically that started to shift towards you coming to a place you are today, which the farm's now back to prospering and flourishing, and you got vision, and you went through that season. But what can you just share what that's done for you and your walk of God, and then kind of just sum up for the audience what you would want to share with them from that experience? Because you've been through a heck of a journey in your business, and I've seen it. I've been a recipient of being part of that and been your friend through it, but just how God used that in your life. And
I think it's just foundational. I mean, it was like for the first time, I really doubled down on my faith walk. And so, having gone through the valley like that and see, God, he didn't answer it immediately,
right,
but he allowed me to go through it. But I never felt like that he was far from me. And I always felt like that he not only he could do it, but he would do it.
Amen.
Would help. And so, towards the end of that, of course, 6 months after that, everything had flipped. It's like, oh my goodness, right. I go from almost financial ruin after being a, multi-millionaire to, back to where the property's doing great. It's bearing fruit. It's so much. I mean, it's so much fun to do that, and it's all So now, ever since that happened, all that digging and diving with the Lord started, back during that time. It's continued.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, this is the secret sauce for CEOs, is that if you will prioritize time with Jesus every morning, He'll give you your daily bread or whatever, and then you will learn to take that with you all throughout your day. And it'll shape your business. It'll shape your marriage. It'll shape your family, fatherhood, whatever, relationships. And man, it's just.
And it's the difference, man. I think it is, like we talked about today, when you talk about impact, we want them to have an internal impact. And really the only way we can do that is be connected to the source of eternity, which is the Lord.
Yeah, for sure.
And we talk about it all the time. John 15:5. We want to always remind our listeners that Jesus is the source, and no matter what we can do in our own strength, it's never going to be enough for the things of eternity. And so that's why and I love that, David, because you do this so well. You talk about it all the time. You in our heritage forums, you really just lead so well with your groups. And I know you have, I don't know how many email, Chuck says he has more, but I think you're actually got him beat.
I got six
email streams, and I get guys that come up to me all the time, and it's life changing for them when they start walking with the Lord, and it's life changing for their businesses and for their families.
There's a saying that says, you can't give away what you don't possess,
right?
But once you have experienced abiding, the concept of abiding is it's speaks about in John 15. It's something that you want to share. And
Amen.
So it's very, very easy to share and to just say, look, this is easy.
Right.
Just get up early, get into a quiet space, and get a devotional you can read about. You can do whatever. I'm a journaler, so I've got all these things that I get to do. And next thing I know, I've spent 2 or 3 or 4 hours.
Right. I love it. Our little abiding teaching for JH Outback, which we've given that talk, is that you need a time. So, we literally, I put it on my calendar. I know that sounds weird, but why wouldn't you? It's a priority. You need a place. And generally, you want an undistracted place. You need a plan. Like, what am I going to do? Because if you just sit there and close your eyes and start humming, you might wake up a couple hours later. We've done that before. And then you need a goal. Really the goal for me every day is I want to hear from God. I want to hear something from him that I can take with me, that fresh manna, that daily bread, and be able to take it into the day and live out what God has for me, independent. So,
and you do that really well. It's evident to everybody that knows you, has known you, especially for a while. Your employees, and it's amazing. You're a great servant leader, but also you're a great role model for abide and lead.
Amen. Well, you are too, brother. It's been a blessing to have you here today. Thank you for all you do for the kingdom and your example, because you're making a big impact.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dave, for being here. Something we were talking about earlier, you were talking about a multi-generational culture, and you used that word before we started filming, and I think that's such a powerful thought as a CEO, that you're not just setting culture for your business, but you're also setting culture for your family, and you can do that in a multi-generational facet. And I think that's just an amazing thought to leave our listeners with today. So thank you so much for being here. You're a visionary leader and you inspire me, and I really appreciate you being here. And so
thank you.
Hey, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe and share it with a fellow leader who could benefit. Also, follow us at Abide and Lead, and check out more resources and past episodes at impactceopodcast.com. You've been listening to Impact CEO, sharing real stories from real CEOs to inspire and equip leaders just like you. See you next time.